Jack Miller stood at the viewing port of Proxima Station, watching as the merchant vessel Starlight Voyager docked. The massive ship gleamed under the station lights, its blue and silver hull showing signs of long journeys through the stars. Jack adjusted the bag on his shoulder, feeling both excited and nervous. This would be his first assignment as the only human on an all-alien crew. A soft chime from his comm device alerted him that boarding would begin soon. Jack checked his credentials one last time. After graduating top of his class in engineering and spending 3 years working on human vessels, he had applied for the interspecies exchange program. Many had told him he was crazy to volunteer, but Jack had always wanted to see how alien ships operated. The boarding gate opened with a hiss, and Jack walked forward. A tall, blue-skinned Valkyrian in a captain's uniform waited at the entrance. "Engineer Jack Miller, reporting for duty, Captain," Jack said, offering his hand before remembering that Valkyrians preferred not to touch. The captain looked down at him with 4 blinking yellow eyes. "I am Captain Zornax. Welcome aboard the Starlight Voyager. We have not had a human serve on our vessel before." "I'm honored to be the first, sir," Jack replied, lowering his hand. Captain Zornax nodded. "Our last engineer retired at Proxima. Your credentials are impressive, but many of my crew are uncertain about human capabilities. You will need to prove yourself." "I understand, Captain. I'm ready for the challenge." A green-skinned officer with ridges along his skull approached. "This is First Officer Drev. He will show you to engineering and your quarters." Drev looked Jack up and down with obvious doubt. "Follow me, human. Try to keep up." Jack followed Drev through the corridors of the ship. Alien crew members stopped and stared as they passed. Some whispered to each other, and Jack caught bits of conversation. "So small and fragile. Heard they need constant rest. Wonder why the captain agreed." Drev led Jack to a small cabin. "Your quarters. Not designed for humans, but it should be adequate." The room was small with strange angles, but Jack had expected worse. "This will be fine. Thank you. Engineering is 1 level down. Report there in 1 hour. The crew is waiting to meet their new superior." Drev said the last word like it tasted bad. When Jack arrived at engineering, 6 alien crew members of different species turned to look at him. None appeared friendly. "I am Engineer Jack Miller. I look forward to working with all of you," Jack said clearly. A tall, insect-like alien stepped forward. "I am Chris, Senior Technician. We have managed this engine room for many cycles without human help." Jack nodded. "I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here to contribute what I know and learn from your experience." Chris's mandibles clicked. "We shall see. Your station is there." Jack moved to the indicated console and began reviewing the ship's systems. He quickly noticed that many were outdated or running inefficiently. The warp drive was operating at only 82% capacity, and the life support systems were using 30% more power than they should. After an hour of quiet work, Jack approached Chris. "I've noticed some areas where we could improve efficiency. May I show you?" Chris and the others gathered reluctantly as Jack explained his findings. Some looked skeptical, others surprised. "These changes would require days of work," Chris said. "I'm willing to put in the time," Jack replied. "It would increase warp efficiency by 12% and reduce power consumption." Before Chris could respond, the ship's alarm sounded. Captain Zornax's voice came over the comm system. "All hands to stations. We have received a distress call from a transport vessel in Sector 9. Prepare for rescue operations." The engineering crew rushed to their positions. Jack quickly moved to his station, ready to prove that a human could be valuable in a crisis. As the engines hummed to life, he felt the ship change course. His first real test had come sooner than expected. The Starlight Voyager slowed as it approached the damaged transport vessel. Jack looked at the ship through the viewing screen in engineering. The transport's hull had multiple burn marks along its side, and one of its engines was dark. "Prepare for rescue operations," Captain Zornax ordered over the comm. "Engineering team, Stand by for possible assistance. Jack turned to Chris. I've dealt with emergency repairs before. I'd like to help if I can. Chris's mandibles clicked together. Very well. You may join the team, but follow my lead. When the ships docked, Jack followed Chris and two other engineers to the airlock. They met Captain Zornax and First Officer Drev, who were greeting the transport's crew. A tall, gray-skinned alien with 4 arms stepped forward. I am Captain Krell of the transport vessel Golden Path. We thank you for your assistance. Jack noticed something odd about Krell. The bird marks on his uniform didn't match the pattern he would expect from the damage he had seen on the ship. He also carried what looked like a concealed weapon under his outer garment. What happened to your vessel? Captain Zornax asked. Micro-meteor shower, Krell explained. Hit our engine housing and communications array. We were lucky your ship picked up our distress beacon. Jack frowned. Micrometeors would leave small, concentrated damage points, not the long scorch marks he had seen. Those looked more like weapon fire. As the crews mingled and the engineering team assessed the damage, Jack approached Captain Zornax quietly. Captain, something isn't right, Jack whispered. The damage pattern doesn't match their story. Captain Zornax looked down at Jack. Engineer Miller, focus on your duties. I have dealt with rescue operations for 30 cycles. Your human paranoia is not needed. Jack wanted to argue but knew it would only make him look worse in the captain's eyes. He returned to his work but kept watching Krell and his crew. There were 12 of them, all looking too alert and fit for a standard transport crew. While helping repair a control panel, Jack overheard 2 of Krell's crew talking quietly. How many guards on the cargo level? One asked. Only 2 during this shift. The weapons systems. Ready to be disabled once we get access. Jack's heart raced. They were planning something. He needed evidence before going back to the captain. He finished his work quickly and offered to check the damage to their communications array. That won't be necessary, Krell said sharply. Your crew has been most helpful already. It's no trouble, Jack insisted. I have experience with those systems. Krell's eyes narrowed. Your captain has invited us to rest aboard your vessel while the final repairs are completed. Perhaps you can help us later. Jack watched as Krell and his crew were welcomed aboard the Starlight Voyager. Captain Zornax assigned them guest quarters and invited Krell to join him for a meal. The rest of Krell's crew were given access to the mess hall and recreation areas. Back in engineering, Jack checked the ship's security systems. To his surprise, he found that the sensors on Deck 3 had been disabled. That was where the main cargo was stored. He tried to reactivate them, but something was blocking his access. Computer, who authorized security shutdown on Deck 3? Jack asked. Security protocol override by First Officer Drev. The computer responded. That was strange. Why would Drev disable security in the cargo area? Unless... Jack's thoughts were interrupted by a ship-wide alert. The lights dimmed momentarily, then returned to normal. Then the comm system went silent. What's happening? Jack asked Chris. Internal communications are down, Chris replied, looking confused. And the main computer is not responding to commands. Jack knew then that his suspicions were correct. As the rest of the engineering crew scrambled to restore systems, Jack slipped away toward the maintenance tunnels. Someone needed to find out what was really happening, and it seemed he was the only one who suspected the truth. Jack crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnel, moving quietly despite his racing heart. The metal was cold against his hands and knees. He had been working on these tunnels during his first days aboard, so he knew them better than most of the crew. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the ship. Then came Captain Zornax's voice, sounding strained. All crew members, this is your captain. We have been boarded by hostile forces. Do not resist. I repeat, do not resist. The message cut off abruptly. Jack froze in place, listening. He could hear shouting and heavy footsteps in the corridor below. Moving to a small vent, Jack peered through. 4 armed aliens marched 5 crew members down the hallway. One of the armed aliens was Krell, now wearing a red uniform with a black symbol on the shoulder. "Move faster," Krell ordered. "All crew to the mess hall. Anyone found elsewhere will be shot." Jack recognized the symbol on Krell's uniform. It belonged to the Crimson Nebula pirates, notorious for attacking merchant vessels in this sector. They didn't just steal cargo. They often took the ships too. Jack needed to see what was happening on the bridge. He crawled through more tunnels, taking a route that would lead him above the command center. It was slow going, and twice he had to stop when the noise of his movement seemed too loud. Finally, he reached a maintenance panel above the bridge. Through small gaps, he could see Captain Zornak standing rigidly, while Krell and 3 armed pirates controlled the room. "The command codes, Captain," Krell demanded. "Give them to me now, and your crew lives." Captain Zornak stood tall. "Our cargo is not worth the lives of my crew. Take it and leave." Krell laughed. "We want more than your cargo. This ship is faster than ours. We want the Starlight Voyager itself." "Never," Captain Zornak said firmly. Krell struck the captain hard across the face. "You will change your mind. We have time." Jack backed away from the vent. He needed to do something, but what could one human do against a ship full of pirates? He had no weapons, no authority, and most of the crew probably thought he was useless anyway. But he did have knowledge of the ship's systems that even the crew didn't fully understand. And he had something else: human determination. Jack moved through the tunnels toward engineering. He had to see if any of the engineering crew had escaped capture. When he reached the engineering section, he found it guarded by 2 pirates. Through another vent, he could see Kriz and the other engineers tied up in the corner. One of the pirates was trying to override the engine controls. "This system is different from the others we've taken," the pirate complained. "Keep trying," the other said. "Krell wants this ship ready to move within 2 hours." Jack thought hard. He needed to find out where all the pirates were and how many crew members were free. He also needed a way to communicate with anyone who might have escaped. Moving away from engineering, Jack crawled toward the medical bay. If anyone else had evaded capture, the ship's doctor might know. Dr. Lily Patel was smart and calm under pressure. The medical bay was dark when Jack peered through the vent. It seemed empty, so he carefully removed the panel and dropped down into the room. "Don't move," a voice said from the shadows. Jack froze as a small light revealed Dr. Patel holding a medical tool like a weapon. "Lily, it's me, Jack," he whispered. She lowered the light. "Jack, I thought everyone was captured." "Not everyone, it seems," he said, relief in his voice. "The pirates have most of the crew in the mess hall. The captain is on the bridge. They want his command codes to take the ship." Lily moved closer. "What can we do?" "There are at least 15 of them, all armed." Jack smiled slightly. "They have weapons, but we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" Lily asked. "A human," Jack said, "and humans have been fighting against bad odds for our entire history." Jack and Lily sat in the darkness of the medical bay, speaking in whispers. They had locked the door, but knew the pirates would eventually search every room. "Humans have some advantages they don't know about," Jack explained. "We evolved on a high-gravity planet with extreme weather. We can endure more than most alien species." "What good does that do us against armed pirates?" Lily asked. Jack pulled up a ship schematic on a small tablet. "Look, most of the environmental controls can be accessed from these maintenance panels. I can change gravity levels, temperature, even oxygen mix in different sections of the ship." Lily's eyes widened. "You could make conditions difficult for the pirates without hurting our crew." "Exactly," Jack nodded. "Plus, I know something else about these pirates. The Crimson Nebula gang is mostly Xandurians. Their home planet has low gravity and high oxygen. They get tired easily in our normal ship conditions. And you don't. I can handle it better than they can," Jack said. "I just need to get to the right control panels." They made a plan. Lily would try to contact other crew members who might have escaped, while Jack would begin sabotaging the pirates' efforts. Before they separated, Lily handed Jack a small device. "Take this. It's a medical communicator. Short range, but the pirates won't be monitoring it." Jack slipped back into the maintenance tunnels. His first target was the life support control junction near the cargo bay. As he crawled through the narrow space, he thought about what he knew of Sendarian physiology. They did poorly in cold temperatures and needed more oxygen than humans. Reaching the junction, Jack carefully adjusted settings for different sections of the ship. He lowered the temperature in the cargo hold by 10 degrees and reduced the oxygen slightly in the corridors. Not enough to harm the crew, but enough to make the pirates uncomfortable. Next, he moved toward the mess hall where most of the crew was being held. Through a vent, he could see about 30 crew members sitting on the floor, while 4 pirates guarded them. Captain Zornax wasn't there. Jack waited until one of the pirates stepped into the corridor for a moment. Then he increased the gravity in that section by 15%. The pirate stumbled, surprised by the sudden heaviness. Jack smiled. His plan was working. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Krell was growing frustrated. "The environmental systems are malfunctioning," he growled, "and the cargo bay is freezing." "The ship's systems are complex," one of his crew replied. "It will take time to master them all." "Send someone to engineering to fix it," Krell ordered. "And double the search parties. Someone is still free on this ship." Jack was setting up another gravity change when his communicator buzzed. "Jack," Lily whispered, "I found 2 security officers hiding in the weapons locker. They have stun weapons." "Great," Jack replied. "Tell them to stay hidden. We need to be smart about this." Jack continued his work, making small changes to ship systems that added up to big problems for the pirates. In one corridor, he caused the lights to flicker. In another, he made the air vents blow cold air. Each change forced the pirates to split up to investigate. The communicator buzzed again. "Jack, the pirates are getting angry. They're threatening the crew." One of them mentioned humans specifically. Jack frowned. "They know I'm free." "Krull just announced that there's a human sabotaging ship systems," Lily said. "He's offering a reward to any pirate who captures you. He said humans are dangerous and unpredictable." "Good," Jack said with determination. "I want them afraid." As Jack moved through another section of tunnels, he heard loud banging. The pirates were searching the maintenance shafts now. He needed to move faster. A plan formed in Jack's mind. If he could free some of the crew and get them weapons, they might have a chance. But first, he needed to deal with the pirates hunting him. He adjusted the gravity in the tunnel ahead to twice normal. Then he waited. When 2 pirates crawled into that section, they collapsed under the unexpected weight. Jack quickly moved in the opposite direction, smiling for the first time since the attack began. The human was turning the tables on the pirates. Jack moved quickly through the ship, staying in the shadows. The pirates were now actively hunting him, which made his job harder, but also meant they were distracted. He had managed to trap 3 more pirates in areas with extreme gravity or temperature settings. His communicator buzzed. "Jack, the pirates are getting angry," Lily whispered. "They've started threatening crew members to draw you out." Jack's jaw tightened. "Where are you now?" "Near the crew quarters with the 2 security officers. We've been moving from room to room." "I have an idea," Jack said. "Meet me at Junction B7 near the lower cargo hold. I think it's time we freed some of our friends." While waiting for Lily, Jack worked on another part of his plan. He accessed a maintenance panel and rewired the ship's internal sensors. Now when the pirates tried to scan for life forms, they would get false readings all over the ship. Lily arrived with 2 tall, muscular security officers. Even they looked tired and worried. "This is Court and Vex," Lily said. "They were off duty when the attack happened." Jack nodded to them. "I have a plan to free the crew in the mess hall, but I need your help." "We're with you, human," Gort said. "Your tricks have already confused the pirates." Jack explained his plan. He would create a distraction by setting off alarms in multiple sections of the ship. When the guards in the mess hall were distracted, Lily and the security officers would attack them and free the crew. "What about weapons?" Vex asked. Jack pointed to a small storage room. "That's an emergency equipment locker. I can override the lock. There are tools inside that can be used as weapons." Working quickly, Jack opened the locker. Inside were maintenance tools, emergency breathers, and fire suppression equipment. They took what they could use and prepared for their attack. Meanwhile, Krell was getting more frustrated on the bridge. "Find that human now," he shouted at his crew. "He's making us look like fools." One of his officers approached nervously. "Sir, our people are reporting strange conditions throughout the ship. Gravity changes, cold spots, bad air. 3 search teams haven't reported back." "It's the human," Krell growled. "They're known for their trickery and endurance. That's why they're banned from most pirate crews." "Should we use the captain as bait?" the officer suggested. "Yes," Krell decided. "Send a message through the ship. If the human doesn't surrender, we start hurting crew members, beginning with the captain." Jack heard this announcement over the ship's speakers. He had to move faster now. He triggered his distraction, setting off fire alarms in 3 different sections of the ship. The sudden noise and flashing lights created chaos. As planned, the guards in the mess hall were momentarily confused. Vex and Gort rushed in with Lily close behind. They quickly overwhelmed the surprised pirates. Once inside, they freed the crew and handed out their makeshift weapons. "Listen up," Gort told the freed crew. "The human engineer has been fighting the pirates. We need to take back our ship section by section." The alien crew looked surprised. "The human?" one asked. "He did all this?" "Yes," Lily said proudly. "Jack has been using their weaknesses against them. Now we need to do the same." The crew, about 30 strong now, split into groups. Jack coordinated their movements through Lily, using his knowledge of where the pirates were weakest. One group secured engineering, while another moved toward the weapons locker to get proper stun weapons. On the bridge, Krell received the bad news. The prisoners have escaped. They've taken engineering and are moving toward the armory. Krell's face darkened with rage. How? How has one human caused so much trouble? He turned to Captain Zornax, who was tied to a chair. "Your human is clever, Captain, but we still control the bridge and have you as our prisoner. This isn't over." Zornax looked at Krell with new confidence in his eyes. "You're right. It isn't over. But you've made a serious mistake." "What mistake?" Krell demanded. "You underestimated humans," Zornax said simply. "That's always a mistake." Jack crouched in a narrow service passage, studying the small screen that showed the ship's layout. The crew had taken back engineering and 3 other sections, but the pirates still held the bridge with Captain Zornax as their prisoner. The situation had turned into a dangerous game of hide and seek throughout the giant ship. His communicator buzzed. "Jack, we've secured the armory," Lily reported. "We have proper weapons now." "Good," Jack replied. "But be careful. Krell has sent out hunting parties specifically looking for me. He thinks if they capture me, they can regain control." "Why is he so focused on you?" Lily asked. "Humans have a bad reputation among pirates," Jack explained. "They think we're unpredictable and dangerous. Right now, that works in our favor." Jack moved carefully toward the next junction. He had set up traps throughout the ship, areas with extreme gravity, sections with lowered oxygen, corridors with slippery floors. The pirates weren't used to thinking about these kinds of tricks. As he turned a corner, Jack nearly ran into 2 armed pirates. He ducked back quickly, but they had seen him. "There, it's the human," one shouted. Jack ran, hearing their heavy footsteps behind him. He led them toward one of his traps, a corridor where he had coated the floor with lubricant from the engineering bay. As the pirates rounded the corner at full speed, they slipped and crashed into the wall. Jack didn't stop to watch. He kept moving, Following his mental map of the ship, 3 more pirates appeared ahead of him. He was trapped between 2 groups. Thinking quickly, Jack opened a maintenance hatch in the ceiling and pulled himself up just as the 2 groups spotted each other. In their confusion, each group thought the other was their target. By the time they sorted out their mistake, Jack was gone. On the bridge, Krell paced nervously. Half his crew was now missing or captured. The ship's freed crew members were systematically taking back control of all major systems. "Sir," one of his officers reported, "we just lost contact with Team 3, and the crew has control of the weapon systems now." Krell grabbed Captain Zornax roughly. "Tell your crew to stand down, or I'll kill you right here." Zornax remained calm. "My crew knows their duty. One captain's life is not worth a ship and its crew." "Sir," another pirate interrupted, "sensors show the human is in section D6, moving toward us." Krell smiled wickedly. "Finally, send everyone we have left to that section. I want that human captured." Jack heard the heavy boots of multiple search parties converging on his position. His misdirection had worked. The pirates were following the false sensor readings he had programmed. Meanwhile, Jack was actually 2 decks below, working his way toward the bridge through rarely used access tunnels. He contacted Lily. "They've taken the bait. Almost all the remaining pirates are heading to Section D6. Now's the time to move on the bridge." "We're ready," Lily confirmed. "Gort has organized 3 teams. Once you give the signal, we'll attack from multiple directions." Jack reached a point directly below the bridge. There was an emergency access panel here that wasn't on the main ship schematics. He had discovered it during his early days exploring the ship's maintenance systems. Carefully, Jack removed the panel and peered up into the bridge. He could see Krell holding a weapon on Captain Zornax. 4 other pirates manned the bridge controls. Jack sent the signal to Lily. "Now." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship as Lily's teams cut power to key systems. The lights on the bridge flickered, distracting the pirates. In that moment, Jack pulled himself up through the access panel. None of the pirates noticed him enter. They were all looking at the main doors, expecting an attack from that direction. Jack grabbed a heavy tool from his belt and moved silently across the bridge. With all his human strength, he swung the tool at the back of Krell's head. The pirate captain crumpled to the floor. The other bridge pirates turned in shock, facing a sight they had feared: an angry human standing over their fallen leader, determination burning in his eyes. "Get away from my captain," Jack said firmly, placing himself between Zornax and the remaining pirates. As if on cue, the bridge doors burst open, and Lily's teams rushed in with weapons raised. The bridge of the Starlight Voyager was tense but quiet. The remaining pirates had surrendered when they saw their leader, Krell, unconscious on the floor. Lily's team quickly tied them up while Jack freed Captain Zornax from his restraints. "Thank you, Engineer Miller," Captain Zornax said, rubbing his wrists. "It seems I was wrong about human capabilities." Jack nodded respectfully. "We still have a problem, Captain. There are at least 8 pirates scattered throughout the ship. They don't know yet that we've taken the bridge." Zornax moved to the captain's chair and accessed the ship's systems. "Communications are back online. I can address the entire ship." "Wait," Jack said. "We can use this to our advantage." He quickly explained his plan to the captain and the others. Captain Zornax nodded in agreement. Then he pressed the ship-wide communication button. "Attention all Crimson Nebula crew members. This is Captain Krell." He mimicked Krell's voice surprisingly well. "All pirates report to the main cargo bay immediately. We have captured the human and are preparing to leave. Bring any prisoners with you." Jack and the others watched the ship's security monitors. One by one, the remaining pirates emerged from their hiding spots and began moving toward the cargo bay, some dragging crew members with them. "Now we need to set up the trap," Jack said. He turned to Gort and Vex. "Take 10 crew members to the cargo bay access points. Stun weapons only if possible. We want prisoners, not casualties." Gort, Vex, and their teams moved out quickly. Jack was surprised at how readily they now followed his orders. Just days ago, they had doubted a human could even function properly on their ship. Engineering reports all systems back to normal, Lily said, checking a console. Life support, gravity, and temperatures are all returning to standard settings. Jack smiled. Good. Let's get the rest of our crew members free. In the cargo bay, the pirates gathered as ordered. 7 of them arrived with 5 crew members as prisoners. They looked around, confused by the empty space. Where is Krell? One pirate asked. He said to meet here. Suddenly, the cargo bay doors slammed shut and locked. The lights dimmed, and the ship's security system activated. Stun beams shot out from hidden emitters in the walls. Within seconds, all the pirates were unconscious on the floor. Gort's team rushed in, freeing the captured crew members and securing the pirates. The humans' plan worked perfectly, Gort said to the freed prisoners. The ship is ours again. Back on the bridge, Captain Zornax watched the successful operation on the monitors. Impressive strategy, Engineer Miller. Using their own chain of command against them was clever. Jack shrugged. Pirates follow orders without question. That's their weakness. Chris, the insect-like engineer who had initially been cold to Jack, approached him. The engine modifications you suggested earlier this week helped us maintain control of the ship. If the pirates had understood our systems better, we might have lost completely. Just doing my job, Jack replied with a smile. Captain Zornax turned to address everyone on the bridge. Thanks to Engineer Miller's quick thinking and bravery, we have recaptured our ship with minimal casualties. The pirates will be held in the secure storage bay until we reach the next station. The captain then did something unexpected. He bowed slightly to Jack, a sign of great respect in Valkyrian culture. I owe you my life and my ship. The crew of the Starlight Voyager will not forget what one human accomplished today. The alien crew members on the bridge all bowed as well. Jack felt his face grow warm with embarrassment and pride. There's one more thing, Lily said, checking the long-range scanners. The pirates' original ship is still attached to ours. What should we do with it? Captain Zornax looked thoughtful. It contains evidence of their crimes. We should bring it with us to the authorities. I have a better idea, Jack said, a mischievous smile forming on his face. If you're willing to take a small detour, I think we can send a message that the Crimson Nebula pirates won't forget. The captain raised an eyebrow. What do you have in mind, Engineer Miller? Something that will make other pirates think twice before attacking ships with humans on board, Jack replied. 2 weeks later, the Starlight Voyager approached the Outer Rim trading post known as Junction Station. The ship had taken a detour to several key locations before heading back to normal space. Everyone on board was tired but proud of what they had accomplished. Captain Zornax stood on the bridge with Jack beside him. Through the viewing window, they could see 5 other merchant vessels docked at the station. The captain turned to his human engineer with a satisfied look. Your plan worked better than I expected, Engineer Miller, he said. Word has spread quickly. Jack smiled. After defeating the pirates, they had taken the pirate ship to 3 major trading hubs. At each stop, they displayed the captured pirates in their own vessel, now decorated with large warning signs. They also shared the full story of how one human had outsmarted the infamous Crimson Nebula gang. The Galactic Merchant Guild sent a message this morning. First Officer Drev said, approaching them, pirate attacks in this sector have dropped by 60% in the last 2 weeks. Fear is a powerful deterrent, Jack said. Now every pirate crew will think twice about attacking a ship that might have a human on board. As they docked at Junction Station, a crowd gathered to see the famous vessel and its human hero. News had traveled fast through the trading lanes. The story of a single human defeating a pirate crew had captured everyone's imagination. The crew of the Starlight Voyager walked proudly from their ship. Many aliens pointed at Jack, whispering to each other. He felt uncomfortable with the attention but understood its importance. In the station's main hall, Captain Zornax addressed representatives from the Merchant Guild and other ship captains. The success of our defense was due primarily to engineer Jack Miller. His knowledge of ship systems, creative problem-solving, and human endurance saved my ship and crew. An older Valkyrian stepped forward. The Guild wishes to recognize this human's bravery and skill. We are issuing a new recommendation that merchant vessels consider adding human crew members for security purposes. Jack was surprised when the captain handed him a small badge. This is the Mark of Valor, Captain Zornax explained. It is rarely given to non-Valkyrians. You have earned it, Jack Miller. Later, in the station's dining hall, the crew celebrated. Chris approached Jack with a drink. When you first came aboard, I thought humans were weak and useless, the insect-like engineer admitted. I was very wrong. We all have different strengths, Jack replied. Humans are just good at adapting and thinking around problems. Lily joined them, smiling broadly. The captain has news for you, Jack. 3 other ship captains have requested human engineers for their vessels. You've started a trend. As the celebration continued, an alert sounded throughout the station. Attention all vessels. Pirate ships detected approaching Junction Station. All crews return to your vessels immediately. The crew of the Starlight Voyager rushed back to their ship. On the bridge, they monitored the approaching threat. 3 ships, heavily armed. First Officer Drev reported. They appear to be the Blue Nova pirates. Captain Zornax looked worried. They're more dangerous than the Crimson Nebula gang. Prepare for emergency departure. Before they could undock, a message came through on the communication system. Attention Junction Station and all vessels. This is Captain Mord of the Blue Nova fleet. We are withdrawing from this area immediately. The crew looked confused. Then another message followed. Scans indicate the presence of a human aboard the Starlight Voyager. We will seek easier targets elsewhere. Pirates beware. There's a human on board. The bridge erupted in cheers and laughter. Jack couldn't help but join in. Captain Zornax placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, a rare gesture of affection from a Valkyrian. It seems your reputation precedes you now, Engineer Miller, the captain said with pride in his voice. Jack looked around at the alien crew that had once doubted him, but now respected him deeply. In just a few weeks, he had changed how these aliens view humans, not as weak curiosities, but as valuable allies with unique strengths. I'm just glad to be part of this crew, Jack said sincerely. Though I do think we should add something to our ship's identification broadcast. What's that? Captain Zornax asked. Jack grinned. Warning, human on board.